And the doctors told my family that I was now dying, I was not going to come out of the coma, and that my organs were shutting down one by one. But while I was laying there in the coma, in the hospital, surrounded by my family, I actually felt that I was no longer in my body, but I was actually viewing everything that was happening. And I was viewing it not with physical eyes, but it was like I had some other periphery awareness. It was like I had 360-degree peripheral vision. I was aware of my family, of my body. I could see my own physical body lying there on the hospital bed. And I wanted them all to know that I'm fine, I'm free, I feel incredible. But I couldn't communicate with them because we have no vocal cords. And then within 4 or 5 days, the tumors started to shrink and the doctors were shocked. They said, this is impossible. Cancer doesn't disappear like that. After 5 weeks, they released me from the hospital because they could find no trace of cancer. If I could put into one word what it was that healed me, that word would be...
Meine lieben Freunde, Albert Einstein lehrte uns bereits, das Außergewöhnlichste, das Schönste, was wir erleben können, das ist immer das Geheimnisvolle. Und ich habe genau dafür eine außergewöhnliche Frau eingeladen, denn sie hatte vor knapp 10 Jahren, im Jahr 2006, ein außergewöhnliches Erlebnis, eine Nahtoderfahrung, nachdem die Ärzte sie mit einer Krebsdiagnose komplett abgeschrieben haben. Und dann geschah etwas, was keiner für möglich gehalten hat. Sie ist einmal ins Jenseits, hat dort eine übersinnliche Erfahrung gesammelt und plötzlich passiert in den nächsten Wochen, Monaten etwas, was keiner für möglich gehalten hat. Ihr Leben begann von neuem. Was sie erlebt hat, wie sie gefühlt hat, welche Menschen oder Seelen sie dort begegnet ist und was seitdem auf der Erde sich verändert hat, das verrät sie uns gleich selbst. Ihr außergewöhnliches Buch, verlinken wir für euch erneut in den Shownotes, wurde zum internationalen Bestseller und insgesamt in 45 Sprachen übersetzt, Freunde. Ja, mein Buch Soulmaster wurde, glaube ich, gerade mit 5 Sprachen übersetzt. Und Anitas Buch in 45 unterschiedlichen Sprachen und noch sehr viel mehr Ländern weltweit. Ich freue mich sehr, dass sie da ist. Welcome on the show, dear Anita Moorjani.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure. Dear Anita, German and European people, they are really struggling, you know. The Germans, they're really good at making cars and being punctual, and everything is perfectly well organized. Some of them have also experienced these near-death experiences, or at least they heard something about it. You are a person who experienced it on your own after you had some health issues. Can you take us on this journey? How was it possible, and how was this trip to this nowadays was possible? Yeah.
So I had end-stage terminal cancer. It was lymphoma, which is cancer of the lymph glands, the lymphatic system, which runs throughout your body. So the cancer spread throughout my entire body. So it started with tumors. It started with one small tumor just here on my left side of my neck. And then slowly over a period of 4 years, they grew and they spread. So I had tumors the size of golf balls, hard tumors from the base of my skull, all around my neck, under my arms, in my chest, all the way down to my abdomen. And this was over a period of 4 years. I was diagnosed in 2002. So in 2006, early 2006, by that time, this cancer had spread and my body became very, very weak. It stopped absorbing nutrition. So I was losing weight. I weighed about 85 pounds. I looked like a skeleton. And because I was losing weight and my body was not absorbing nutrition, my muscles started to deteriorate and I could no longer walk. And I was so weak that I was either in a wheelchair or in bed. And I couldn't even hold my head up. I was so weak. My head was always hanging down like this. My neck didn't even have the strength to hold up my head. And my lungs were filled with fluid all the time. And so if I lay down flat, I would choke on my own fluid. And I reached a point where my organs started to shut down one by one. First, my kidneys shut down, and then I went into a coma. And the doctors told my family that I was now dying. I was not going to come out of the coma, and that my organs were shutting down one by one. And they told my family that I won't even make it through the night. And this was on February the 2nd, 2006. But while I was laying there in the coma, in the hospital, in the intensive care unit, surrounded by my family, I actually felt that I was no longer in my body, but I was actually viewing everything that was happening. And I was viewing it not with physical eyes, but it was like I had some other periphery awareness, like it was like I had 360-degree peripheral vision. I was aware of my family. I was aware of my body. I could see my own physical body lying there on the hospital bed. And for the first time, I could really see how small and weak I looked. And I became aware of things that were even happening beyond the hospital room. And I became aware of the conversations that the doctors were having with my husband and my family, even outside the room, even in the nurses' station. And then I started to become aware of more. It was like my consciousness was expanding and expanding. But the main thing was that I actually felt incredible. Up until that point, until I'd gone into the coma, I had been in so much pain and so much fear and so much discomfort. I feared the cancer. I feared the treatment. I feared dying. And I was in so much pain and discomfort. And now I felt free from all of that. I felt incredible and I felt powerful and light. And I've never felt that way in my life before. And I wanted my family to know that I feel great. I'm fine. You don't have to be upset. Because I could see that my mom was there. She was very, very upset and she was begging with the doctor, asking them, isn't there anything else they can do? I could see my husband was upset. I was aware that my brother was coming in from another country, and I was aware that he was also really sad and afraid that he was going to lose me, that I was going to die. And I wanted them all to know that I'm fine. I'm free. I feel incredible. But I couldn't communicate with them because we have no vocal cords. And so I was able to just continue to just be aware that I was expanding. And then I started to become aware that I was surrounded by other beings, like other spirit beings. And I recognized some of them as being from this physical life. I recognized my dad, who had died 10 years prior. I recognized a best friend. And I didn't recognize all the beings, just some of them. But the main thing was I felt that they were all there to help and support me. All I felt from them was pure, unconditional love. And when I had been growing up, I never received unconditional love from my dad. I always felt I never met his expectations. I was always trying to win his love, and I never did. He was not a warm-hearted person. He was not a great father. But here on the other side, my spirit and his spirit meeting spirit to spirit, all I felt from him was pure, unconditional love. It was amazing. And I understood that when we are without our physical bodies, we are very different, that when we cross over, we leave behind our gender, our culture, our beliefs, our fears. We leave all of that behind. And what crosses over is our pure consciousness, which is pure love. It's like pure God. We can call it what we want. And that was all I felt from my dad. And he wanted me to know that he had never meant to hurt me, my life. That underneath he did love me, but he never knew how to show it. And as I continued in that side, so I was in the coma for about 30 hours, I reached a point where I was given a choice as to whether I wanted to come back or continue in that realm. And I realized that if I, when I reached this point, it was like, oh, if I continued, I couldn't turn back anymore. So now I had to make the decision. And I wanted to continue on that side because my life had been so painful. I had been so sick. My family had been suffering, taking care of me. I had been suffering. There was no reason to come back. But suddenly I became aware that I was starting to understand why I had got sick in the first place. It was like this space was a realm of clarity where I understood why I had got sick. I'd understood how all the thoughts and decisions and choices that I had made in my life had led to this point of me lying here in this hospital bed dying. And I started to understand that if I chose to go back, now that I knew the truth of why I had got sick, the truth of who I really am, which is beyond the physical body, I started to understand that if I chose to go back, my body would heal. And this was, once I had this realization, it was my dad who said to me, now that you know the truth of who you really are, you need to go back and live your life fearlessly. He wanted me to know that I had not yet completed my purpose and that my purpose was linked to my husband's purpose. And that if I didn't go back, he would not be able to complete his purpose either. I still was, so for me, it wasn't like I was being forced to come back. It was still feeling like a choice, but it was like I was being encouraged that the better choice for my own soul's evolution was to come back. It was to come back, and I felt like I had lived a life of suffering up to that point. And now if I went back, I would be getting the lessons or the gifts from the suffering. I would be missing out on the most important part if I didn't come back. So I chose to come back. And as soon as I started to open my eyes and come out of the coma, I saw my family was around me, and I started to say to them, it's not my time. I'm not going to die. I'm going to be okay. Dad is here. So they thought it was just the drugs, or because I was in the coma, that I was delusional. And they called the doctor to come in, and the doctor came in, and the doctor told my family, don't raise your hopes. She's still dying. She's still in critical stage. And that's when I started to tell everyone, including the doctor. I started to say to my family, oh, isn't that the doctor that said to you that I wasn't going to make it through the night? And they said, how did you hear that? He didn't even say that in the room. He said that outside at the nurse's station. And they started to realize that something had happened. And then within 4 or 5 days, the tumors that were golf ball size, which you could see sticking out of my neck and under my arms, started to shrink. They started to soften and shrink and melt, and the doctors were shocked. Within 3 weeks, they were having trouble even finding tumors or finding cancer in my body. They kept testing me, and they said, this is impossible. Cancer doesn't disappear like that. After 5 weeks, they released me from the hospital because they could find no trace of cancer. So they released me 5 weeks later to go home to live my life cancer-free. And that was on March 9, 2006.
Wow. Wow. And it was close to your birthday, right? Because
yes, very close to my birthday.
Yeah,
Yes,
I checked before your pieces. Yeah, that's what the information on Google I had. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anita, I have so much question and somehow I don't have any question at all, because you experience this presence of God, and in this moment, all the questions, all this trauma, all these dramas on earth, all disappear, right? Can you, maybe small question to understand better, because there are people who believe, who pray to God, who speak to the spiritual world. And also there are some people who don't believe at all. And also there are some people who do not believe, who know, like you, who actually experience it. You said like your family thought that you have like something, drugs or whatever, that you was not speaking so clear. But you were complete aware of this doctor, what he was saying to your family in the other room when you was not inside. When you came back and then this tumor disappeared, how did this presence and these words from you change your family? Because now when they saw that it was not just drugs, but it was like the spiritual miracle through your body, then they started to believe more, to pray more, or did they become more aware of presence of God through your body and this experience?
Yes, so my family, of course, was so grateful and were so happy as this was happening. And because they were there with me and they saw it happening, it felt like they shared the awakening that was happening within me. It almost felt like it was happening to my whole family because we were so close. Particularly my husband and I, we are so close. It was like it was happening to both of us. And that's where I feel very blessed and lucky. And I feel that this is why I have been able to continue on this path all these years, because I hear of other people who have spiritual awakenings and nobody supports them or believes them. I mean, people close to them. And they end up either falling back to their old ways because they want to hold on to those people, or they end up needing to separate themselves from those people because they know they can't go back to being the person they used to be. So with me, what happened is that the doctors kept saying to me, you have to be careful because it can come back. It can come back. We need to keep checking you. And of course, they kept checking 3 months later and they still didn't find anything. But I internally knew that I could not go back to being the person that I used to be, because that was the person that got cancer, because this experience changed me. And I now had to, and I knew that I am now a different person. I cannot allow the people in society, in my culture, in my community to convince me that I was delusional, and I cannot allow them to convince me to go back to being the person I used to be. So my family, because they were part of witnessing all this, it felt like they all came on the journey with me. And so that was beautiful. But I did lose a few friends along the way because they were skeptical and they were feeling I was being delusional. They felt, yes, you had a spontaneous remission. That's amazing. Medical science can't explain it yet, but one day they will. But they would say, you've changed. And I would say, yes, I can't go back to being the person I used to be. It was so clear to me why I had got the cancer. It was just so incredibly clear that there was no way I could go back. And yet I understand how it is people fall back into that trap, because there is always this risk of losing your old community.
Wow. So you can confirm clearly that tumor and cancer was waiting for this version of you before this near-death experience. So after you have experienced this and for sure know, what would you say to all the people outside who are still suffering, or maybe you can give us more clear picture of a person you were before the cancer,
yes.
Before the near-death experience, in order to awake some people. Guys, please stop doing this. You damage your own life and body.
Yes. So before I got the cancer, or before I had the near-death experience, I was somebody who was a people pleaser. For me, I used to do everything to try and win other people's approval. I always felt I was not good enough. I was always putting myself last. I always took care of other people before me, and to the point where I didn't even take care of myself. And also I lived in fear. So everything I did out of fear and not love. So I used to eat really healthy foods, but I ate healthy foods not because I love my body and I want to live long. It was because I feared getting sick. I eat healthy foods today, but I eat it because I love my life and I want to live long and I love myself. But at that time, I ate healthy food because I feared getting sick. I would want to, the way I worked even, I would work to please my boss or to please other people. I would want to succeed because I wanted to look good. I wanted to fit in. And what this experience did to me. Oh, and the other thing is, I was the kind of person who was never there for myself. No matter how tired I was never there for myself, but I was there for everybody else. I was always the person that was there when someone needed a shoulder to cry on. And then one day when I got the diagnosis of cancer, so I had been helping take care of other people with cancer, and I'd been, and I grew up believing that if you love yourself, it's selfish, it's egotistical. So every time I had needs, I would tell myself, no, it's egotistical. I have to repress it. I have to repress myself. And then one day, even when I got the diagnosis, a big part of me felt fear of the cancer. But there was a part of me that thought, oh, now I have a reason to take care of myself. So the first thing I want to tell people is you don't need to wait until you get sick to have a reason to take care of yourself. You have every right to love yourself and take care of yourself all the time, every time. And then the other thing I want to say is, if I could put into one word what it was that healed me, that word would be love. And I learned that the biggest key is to live your life from a place of love, not fear. Love is the opposite of fear. So I realized when I said every choice, every decision that I had made had led up to me being at that point, dying from cancer. It was because every choice and every decision I made in my life was made from fear of failing, fear of not being good enough, fear of getting sick. I realized I had to make all my choices from a place of love, either a love for myself, a love for the other person, a love of life, a love, a passion for what I want to do. So I made that change. Like, do I do this because I fear not being approved, or am I doing this because I want to do it? I love to do it. And I realized that my soul had been wanting to express itself, and I had repressed myself and repressed my soul so much that it was like it exploded, my body exploded as cancer, just to kind of get my attention that your soul has a message, your soul wants to express itself, stop squashing it down, stop feeling you're not good enough. And so that's my message to everyone. You have to learn to love yourself, love your life, do things because you love to do them. And when you do things out of love, your energy expands. And when your energy expands, you have so much more to give the world. And when you do things out of fear, your energy shrinks and you become depleted. And over a period of time, you can become sick.
Wow. Anita, there are some illnesses where doctors say no chance, like they say to you,
Yes.
But what a lot of people do forget is that doctors did not create it, us. It was God. So
yes.
What would you say to people who are really suffering right now or have some illnesses and they did not have this experience like you has? Would you say, guys, just try to open your heart and to love the cancer or whatever, or pray to God and ask for help, for forgiveness? What would you recommend?
Yes, so I don't recommend to people to pray to God and ask and beg for things, because that takes the power outside of you. Each one of you, every human being here, is a piece of God. And what I realized, so I had been taught that God is outside of us. We have to pray. If you don't get what, this could be a punishment, and I have to pray for forgiveness. I have to do more good works. That's when I realized, when I was on the other side, I realized that each one of us is a facet of God. It's about realizing that you are a facet of God. You are worthy. You are deserving of being loved. So here's what I would say to people, that if you are dealing with a difficult diagnosis, the doctor has told you something. Now, the doctor is only telling you what they're telling you because their medications in their toolbox, they have nothing else that can help you. But it does not mean that in the universe there is nothing that can help you. A doctor cannot and should not give you a death sentence. Even though they do, it's not their right to do that. That is between you and God, between you and your connection. So then, when you're dealing with a difficult diagnosis, what I would suggest you do is, number one, is to realize that all the doctor is saying is, I don't have an answer for you, but it doesn't mean you can't heal. So remember that. Number two is, know that you have more control over your health than you have ever been led to realize. We have been conditioned to believe that illnesses come from the outside, and then we have to go outside to the doctor for the doctor to help us. Now, I'm not saying stop seeing your doctor. Absolutely. When you need help, go to your doctor. But I am saying that it is actually a partnership, but we don't treat it like a partnership. We give our power to the doctor, but it's actually a partnership. There is so much you can do to help your health. So the next thing I would say that you do is to know that you have a lot of power and control, and ask yourself, if I was given a clean bill of health today, if the doctor said to me, you're healed, you're completely cured, what would I do with the rest of my life? Do I have a life that I look forward to living? What would I do that brings me joy, that makes me happy? Or have I been miserable all this time and I hate my life and I hate my relationship and I hate my job, and am I going back to that job I hate? If you are just living a life you hate and you want to get well just to go back to the job you hate, maybe your body is trying to tell you it's time to change your life. So step by step, start creating a life that you look forward to living. The more you look forward to living your life, and the more you have to be passionate about, the more in love you are with your life, the better your chances of healing. And I want people to know that there are a lot of miraculous healings, not just mine. There are a lot of miraculous healings that happen. People come and share their stories with me all the time, but they don't get recorded in medicine. They don't go into the statistics. So the statistics your doctor gives you is actually skewed, because doctors never report the miraculous healings. They never report that, that we want to write this up in our medical report. They only report the ones that get sick and that die. So they're very skewed. So you don't have to be a statistic. And so live your life like somebody who is well, and make choices of someone who is well, happy, joyful, and always look forward to your future. And that is what will keep you healthy.
Wow. Dear Anita, I have now a lot of question. Can we do like small question, small answer, just in order to get some wisdom spread, which you experienced?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. You mentioned that when you go to the other side, you leave your gender, your age, your body, and somehow you met also your father on the other side. Was it kind of energy that you knew that's your father, or what was the expression of your father?
It was pure spiritual energy. He was a spiritual being, and it's almost like they give you an image of how you knew them in this physical life. So you know who it is, but it is purely spiritual energy.
So you was not able to see like somebody, but you knew now it's the energy from my father, right?
Yes, because we don't have physical bodies when we cross over. So it is literally another awareness. It's like here we are 5 sensory beings. It's like an entire spectrum of other senses open up.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Next question. When you say on the other side, we'll leave all this material stuff behind us, would you say as a souls, as this pure energy field, there is something like reincarnation, that we come back in different time, different soul, different bodies with different purposes?
I would say yes, but at the same time is not linear when we leave this physical earth. So that confuses things a little bit. So when we leave this body, what we become aware of, it almost looks and feels like we can see multiple lives at the same time, that we can see them and we can see the relevance of them. And it's like all the lives together make the complete picture of your soul, but you can see them at the same time, not like one after the other.
Mm-hmm. Did you have this experience to see your past lives for the person? Is it past life, but for the soul, like also was you able to see also the future when you was on the other side, that they told you, Anita, no problem, no worries at all. You have experienced this cancer. This was like a result of your feeling and being before. Now you understand, you can change, and now you will write a book or something, and then it will be a 45 languages international bestseller.
So I did see a little piece of my future. So just so you know,
excuse me. Was you able to decide to see, or is it like a little glimpse they showed you in order to give like hope for your soul, in order to, you will be great, and now you feel even what's coming instead of all this suffer before?
It was a glimpse. They showed me a glimpse of the future. They didn't tell me how I was going to get there. They didn't tell me what exactly I was doing, but I saw myself helping thousands, tens of thousands of people, and standing on stage and traveling, but I didn't know what I was doing or how I was going to get there. It was just a glimpse.
So when you say you've seen yourself on these stages, I mean, for the normal brain is you just died, you had cancer, you're complete in a lost situation, then you change the worlds, you leave all the materials, you leave all the pains, you're on the other side, and then they show you, oh, okay, great to see you, Anita, we love you, and now you can go down, and this is what you can be happy of, what is coming in the next months or years. Would you say when you've seen yourself on these big stages, we met ourselves in Switzerland at Unity event, where also more than 10,000 people were coming to hear you. Would you say that we do not plan at all, that God is planning this, and it was already in your soul plan, or is it a soul plan which you decided before the cancer, before you went down as a person?
So, excuse me, it's a little bit of a combination. We always have free will to follow our plan or not. And fear blocks us from following our plan. And also we can get derailed. We can get influenced by people here who can pull us into fear and other directions. The idea is, this is what it felt for me anyway. Before, it felt like my soul had an intention to do something. It had this intention to show people there is a different way of doing things. And it came with this intention. And so I always have the option of fulfilling that intention or not fulfilling that intention. And so when I don't, but the interesting thing is, sometimes it's harder to fulfill the intention because it feels very challenging. I was someone who was extremely shy and introverted and meek. And so for me to be told you're going to be on stage, you're going to be speaking to thousands of people, that's very challenging. And yet it felt like I was being helped to go in that direction. I was actually being helped. And when I do it, it feels amazing. It feels very natural. And yet it's something that was not in my personality or even something I would even have ever imagined that I could do. So it's quite interesting. It's like, it's not exactly 100% that it's pre-planned or that someone else is doing it for you. It's your own soul's journey. The whole thing still feels like it's my own soul, going through its evolution of growth. And this is the way I had to go through my growth. But no matter what you do, it's not wrong, because even if I don't follow it and my body gets sick because I'm repressed and I'm pushing myself down, even that is growing my soul. My soul, your soul is always evolving and growing and learning.
Wow. And you mentioned that on the other side, you was absolutely clear about all for our human brain past lives and coming lives, which were happening at the same time, right? For the soul, it's the same time. For us human, it's like past and future. If it's possible to see like a soul, different lifetimes which you had on earth or will have, is it also possible to meet yourself on the earth? Yes.
Yes, I do believe so, 100%. Because sometimes now when I feel guidance and I feel a pulling in a certain direction, because since this experience, I'm always communicating with my guidance system to help me, because now I know, don't just listen to what everybody else is telling you to do. Keep communicating with your own guidance system and my own soul. And sometimes I think, oh, this is my future self calling me to the future. My future self already knows where I need to be, and it is calling me to the future. Yes, I do feel that.
Wow. And how about at this life, you're Anita Moorjani, right?
Yes.
And is it possible that because your soul experienced different lives at the same time on the other side, that you are right now, you're something about 60, and in the next life, you're probably maybe already here and you're maybe 14 years old boy from Australia or Norway. Yeah. And also you might be now 97 and living somewhere in Argentina. And just in case, if you could go in Argentina, you could meet a person in the restaurant who also would you feel this, like this incredible, intense presence? Would you fall in love with this kind of person, or is it like it's really trustful, but it's not like loving relationship?
Wow, that is a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before, so I love it. That's really something. And so the way that I experienced souls and my soul and the way I experience the afterlife, I would say that what you have said is highly possible. Yes.
And would you say it would be a kind of romantic relationship because we feel ourselves, it's like a part of our soul in somebody and we have like this attachment? Or you say it's like a pure trust, but it's not in loving relationship?
I would say it would be a pure trust, a very pure love, very pure feeling of like twins, but probably not romantic.
All right.
That's
Okay.
what I feel. That's what just, but I'm not going to say 100% for sure, but this is what I think. It's almost, there will be a recognition, an immediate recognition. And
do you think it might be possible that both are in the same life? It's round about the same age even? Or is it like one have to be really old and another one really young?
So this is what I'm going to say now as I'm thinking about it. This is what I'm sensing, is that although it is possible, everything that you're saying is highly possible because our soul can exist simultaneously. I am thinking that for the soul's own evolution and for its own intention, it would not choose to do that. Maybe only in very special circumstances. But I think that ideally, because the reason we're here is to evolve as individual souls and then as a whole, because we're all connected, even as a whole of consciousness, we need to evolve. And I think that for our own evolution, we may not feel this is the best way to evolve. I do see how a future self coming back to pull you forward can help you, to guide you to get to somewhere where you need to go if you're starting to go off. But I feel that future, like in other physical bodies, may not be the best thing for your own evolution. So unless it serves you or serves the evolution of that soul, then it possibly would happen. It can, but I'm not sure that we would choose that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Last 4 questions, really small ones. A lot of people experience fear as long as they understand themselves as humans. They have a feeling like, oh, I don't know, is it the right time or is it the correct airplane? Would you say, guys, relax, you have this intuition and you have also like your spiritual team and you would never take a wrong airplane, or even if it's crash, you will be the only one survive?
So I would say, yes, first of all, when you feel fear, it's normal for humans to feel certain level of fear because it's like a caution to not do something. So you should tune into your intuition and then follow your intuition. And if your intuition says, yes, go ahead and take the plane, you'll be fine, then you follow it, go for it. And if you're feeling really strongly that you should not take that plane, then don't. Absolutely follow that intuition. Also, we are divinely guided, so I also want to say for the people who have died in plane crashes and accidents, for them, that was their time. That was the time that their soul needed to leave. And then there are people who survive such things. It's because it wasn't their time. So I also want to just take this quick opportunity to say that when someone dies, it doesn't mean that their guides did not work. It doesn't mean that they lost the battle or they failed or anything, because it is absolutely amazing on that side. And when people say to me, why did I survive and other people with cancer, they'll say, my loved one died from cancer. Why didn't they get the chance? And why are you the lucky one? You know, it could be that they are the lucky one, that they got to stay there. And when we come here, it's not that life is smooth. It's still very bumpy. Even for me, it's still very bumpy. There's still hurdles. There's still things to deal with. So people need to also know that and to learn to trust their intuition.
Wonderful. Would you say, last 3 questions, would you say your intuition improved after the near-death experience? Like you would that you even know when a friend of you would watch a football game, that you see the game and you're watching like 1-2 minutes and you already feel the result that one team might win, even no idea if you have no idea about soccer or football?
So my intuition has definitely improved since since the near-death experience. And I believe that all of us have the ability to improve our intuition. What the near-death experience does is it makes you realize and understand that you really do have intuition. So it makes you trust it more. Before the near-death experience, and most people are like, oh yeah, I don't have intuition, or most people will just say, oh, that was just a coincidence, when something does happen. And we don't trust it and we dismiss it. But do you know that the more you trust it, even if you're wrong, the more you trust it, the more intuitive you become. We are born naturally intuitive, but we've pushed it away. And so that's why I really feel I've become much more intuitive, because I trust it now. And I realize, and when you trust it, you're like, oh, you end up surprising yourself. So yeah, I have become more intuitive, but everybody can.
Did you have the possibility also to see what will happen in the future on Earth? Because they showed you your soul plan, yes. You seeing yourself on stages. You was also able to see what's coming next on our planet?
Yes. And I would say again, because nothing is, I should say, set in stone, and we always have free will. So even when I saw my future, I knew that I had the free will to not follow it. And if I lived from a place of fear, that future would not have manifest. So I had to trust. I literally had to trust and let go. So it's the same with this world. I actually see a very positive future. However, what I am also seeing is that there is so much fear and divisiveness in the world that it is actually pulling us away from that very positive future. So it's derailing us. Much like even as a human, when you see your own future, your fear can pull you away from what your destined future should be. So same with this planet. And this is why I personally keep trying to help people and get my message as far and wide about alleviating fear. I try to promote love. I keep promoting love. And I keep promoting that we're all connected, and I promote our evolution because I want to see the world go in the direction that we are technically destined to go. However, humans have the ability to take it off that path.
Mm-hmm. And the last two questions. Why do you think that we do not remember when we come on this planet in this new incarnation that they kind of delete our memories and we start again?
So my thinking is a little bit different. I actually don't think that we don't remember or that our memories get deleted. I think we're born knowing. We're born still connected to the other side. Babies are so intuitive. And if you look at babies, they can see things that you can't see. You see their eyes are following. They'll see something in the room. But I think that as they start to grow, they get conditioned, when their schools and the parents and the teachers and the other kids and all, when they say, oh, don't use your imagination so much. Oh, focus on your studies. Oh, only this physical world is real. And you're crazy if you think you can see other things. That is what makes them stop. And that's what does it to all of us. I think we're born multisensory beings, but our culture suppresses it and turns us into 5 sensory beings.
Well, thank you for confirming it, because I have a little son who become 5 this year, and he has also 2 friends, and he even speak about them. He give them names and say Paul and Happy. This is not typical. Well, Paul, yes, but the second one in German it would be Paul, but he said Paul and Happy. Yeah, not happy, Happy. This is also not a name. I don't know, but my little son Leo, he has this, and I confirm him in this creativity. Anita, last question. You have experienced this tremendous fact, leaving your body, being on the other side, experience all this love, understanding all the purpose, and coming back on as a teacher, and now your book reached thousands, millions of people worldwide. What would you say in one sentence? What is this all about? What is this purpose of life, being a soul in this small body and living quite a short life of maybe 70, 80, 90, 100 years old? What is the purpose of life for you?
For me, purpose of life is just to experience, to get a rounder, fuller experience for my soul. I think this, and so I would say, make the most of it and find your joy. Stop being angry. Stop being fearful. Do things that make you joyful. And that's really the short answer is the purpose of life. There is a longer answer, but we save that for another time, which is to do with the soul's evolution. But even I don't know the ultimate answer of why do we all of us even exist, and what is the purpose of the evolution of all of us. And yet it feels like there is like an internal evolution happening. And so sometimes I give people this very short answer. The purpose of life is to eat chocolate.
and to feel good, right?
And to feel good, yes.
Yes. Anita, thank you so much for all your wisdom, for the light you bring to the people. After a couple minutes with you, everybody's feeling like you're a kind of magician. You're rising the energy field to all the people who listen to your voice, who are watching your energy field, because it's not possible to feel better after seeing and feeling you. Thank you so much for your love. You're spreading worldwide. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Maxim, for saying that. I appreciate it. And your questions were wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Und für all die Freunde, die sagen, das hat mich so berührt, das war etwas anderes als wie sonst, so teilt diese Folge mit deinen Liebsten, die vielleicht zu sehr kämpfen, die zu sehr zweifeln, die zu sehr mit sich selbst beschäftigt sind, in Ängste gehen oder vielleicht irgendwelche Krankheiten haben, damit die Menschen erwachen und leicht auf diesem Planeten geboren werden. Ihr habt mich immer wieder gefragt, welche Superfoods, Wasserfilter und technische Geräte ich empfehle, damit deine Frequenz, deine Schwingung hochgeht. Meine persönlichen Favoriten findest du ab sofort alle hier.